This goes out to all the trolls out there who say I'm just a hater. When the MCU does something worthy of my praise, I'll let you know. And I'm here to tell you, Werewolf by Night is worthy of some praise. Let's discuss. Before I get started, I'd like to kindly ask that you hit the like button, and please subscribe to the channel for more content just like this.
Come on. Do it! Do it!
So we all know, even if you don't want to admit it, that Phase 4 of the MCU has pretty much been complete dog shit. Completely devoid of any kind of creativity or originality. So when I sat down to watch Werewolf by Night, I have to admit I was a little bit skeptical. Could they give us a genuine Universal monster movie inspired story that sets itself apart from everything else that they produce? Well, much to my surprise, they did just that. Well, mostly.
Get the fuck out of here! No, I cannot, it's serious!
Now, normally I would just do spoilers for something like this, but since it's not technically a show and it's more of a special, I'm gonna treat it more like a movie review. So no spoilers, everyone can rest easy. The story follows a secret society of monster hunters who gather after their leader dies. While at the Bloodstone Temple, these attendees are thrust into this mysterious and deadly competition, where the first one who defeats this mysterious monster gains control of a powerful relic once held by their leader.
You have my curiosity, but now you have my attention.
That's actually a pretty basic concept, but what is different about this is that it's done in a way that's aesthetically pleasing to the eye. From the opening to the closing credits, not only is it paying homage to films of the past, but it also has this mostly dark and somber tone that is not common in the MCU. With its use of shadows and creepy set design, it just didn't feel like I was watching something produced by Marvel Studios.
What the hell am I looking at? When does this happen in the movie?
And that's a good thing to me. That's how you get some people beyond their MCU burnout. You give them something new, something fresh. Listen, they've tried things like this before with shows like WandaVision, where early on in that series it felt like they were going down a unique creative path, but then they just reverted back to the tired Marvel formula by the end of the season. And I'm happy to say that for the most part, that didn't happen with Werewolf by Night. There were a couple of moments where I noticed that MCU humor starting to creep through, but this time it wasn't as cringy or overbearing as it's been in the past. It didn't dominate the whole story. Restraint is a good thing sometimes.
Jesus fucking Christ, it's about time!
I think the last 30 seconds or so of Werewolf by Night was probably the most MCU thing in the whole story, and coincidentally my least favorite thing in the story. And that's because it has to do with these typical quirky MCU relationships that are overused at this point. Outside of that last 30 seconds though, the characters were mostly enjoyable.
No shit.
Jack is essentially the lead of this story, and he's one of the hunters, but he's hiding a secret. When that secret is revealed, I believe that that scene is one of the most cinematically pleasing things that the MCU has done in some time. Maybe ever. Think about this for a second. The finale of this story involves practical effects, which honestly was the biggest shock of all, especially after all the abysmal CGI we've been getting lately. It also has an unusual amount of violence, which is a pretty mature decision compared to what we usually see. And then there's this whole level of artistic integrity to these final scenes that honestly shocked me to my core.
You crazy son of a bitch, you did.
Yes, they go all in on the black and white monster movie aesthetic, but more importantly than that, wait for it, they actually do creative things from a filmmaking perspective. There's this one shot of this fight in a dimly lit room, and it basically has one individual fighting a whole crew of another individuals. And the camera is slowly closing in as things are happening, and the lighting is slowly changing as well because the door behind them is closing, and the scene just felt so detailed and pleasing to the eye. And it's rare that Marvel Studios allows creative people to do stuff like that.
I like it a lot.
Rather than have everything be uniform or formulaic, they allowed a filmmaker to have some kind of creative freedom. All props go to director Michael Giacchino, who deserves a lot of credit for this. He clearly had a vision that he was allowed to mostly execute. He made his mark actually as a film composer, but now he's jumping into directing, and after this I'm kind of interested to see what he does next. Quick note here, the female lead in this story is the daughter of the deceased leader. Now, I'm not going to lie, when I first saw her, part of me thought that she was going to be annoying. But instead, much to my surprise, once again, her character came off mostly believable and organic. So apparently, it can be done. So take that for what it's worth.
Goddamn right, that's the only way I work, Cap.
Here's the thing, Marvel Comics, the source material, has this rich history of stories like this that are kind of begging to be adapted. More obscure stories. And it's kind of refreshing to see the MCU take a chance on a story like this and not play it so safe. Do more of that. Hire filmmakers to do their job and don't meddle in their vision. And maybe, just maybe, we can get more stuff just like this.
That makes sense.
Now, do I believe for a second that this could be the start of a new trend? No, I do not. They'll probably just go back to their typical ways after this. Was Werewolf by Night life-changing? No, not at all. Is it possible that this is a similar situation where you throw a starving person in the desert a cracker, and they oversell how good that cracker actually is? It's possible. But overall, I actually did enjoy Werewolf by Night. One of the most unique things that the MCU has put out in a long time. And that's why I think I'm going to give it the Pleased Palpatine.
Good.
Y'all be cool. Nah.